It is unfortunate that, I'm an ecclesiologist at my core. I love the church. But unfortunately, we've dumbed down the definition of the church to mean only where you go for information and spiritual inspiration on Sunday, maybe have some fellowship, and all of those are important. Our worship is critical. But there's an aspect of the church that we often miss in this spiritual realm. When Jesus talked about the role of the church, and he introduced it in Matthew chapter 16, the word is ecclesia. I'm going to build my church. But the word ecclesia was used in the culture of a legislative body, like you would have a city council or a Congress, or if you're in England, a parliament. It's even used that way in the Bible. In Acts chapter 19, verse 39, it says the ecclesia gathered together in order to pass laws against the church, against Christianity. So Jesus was not using a term that was foreign. It was a legislative term. The job of the church is to legislate from heaven into history, in the same way that an American embassy legislates in a foreign land from America. It represents America in foreign land. The church is to represent heaven in the midst of earth. It is to represent God in the midst of Satan. It is to represent the kingdom of heaven in the midst of the kingdoms of men. And so we have a legislative role. That's why the Bible talks about the gates of hell. That was the place where decisions were made. It talks about the keys of the kingdom. Keys give you access. So the church, unlike any other institution in history, has been given unique, authoritative access into the spiritual realm to draw down from heaven heaven's solution for earth. But if you don't know where your keys are, or you don't know which keys go into what lock, you will be using the wrong key to get in the doors and they will not open. He says, I will give you, the church, the keys to the kingdom of heaven. That is authority. I love football. I love to use football analogies. And the referees in a football game are fatter, slower, and older than the players. They're also outnumbered. There are only 9 of them in an NFL game. There are 52 players on each team, so they're outnumbered. The players are younger, stronger, and faster. But while the players can knock you down and can outnumber you, the refs can put you out and exercise more authority over you, because they have kingdom authority from the kingdom offices in New York. They have a yellow flag and a whistle, and they can shut this thing down. If the church understood its spiritual authority because of its kingdom attachment, we can use our yellow flags. We can use our kingdom authority to execute on behalf of heaven. How can we have all these churches on all these corners with all these preachers and all these members and all these programs and all these buildings and still have all this mess, even in the abortion arena? Because the church has stopped living for the kingdom up there and is just living for the kingdoms down here, which has made us somewhat Benedict Arnolds to the kingdom of God. And that's why we've now have to get aggressive on abortion and other issues like it to let the society know that heaven has arrived, and this is the stand that heaven is taking.